This is the New Money Fight Club. I'm Steve. This is Cristobal, and we are here with the man himself, Kameron Fardad. Welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome to talk to you again. You are definitely, I think one of my favorite fighters on the UNF roster, and we've done a couple of interviews together, and they're always like really poetic. You have a lot of great things to say, so really glad to get into it. So last minute, they threw you a title fight for the Rising Stars welterweight belt. You're going to take on Majali Gay this Saturday night at the Ukrainian Cultural Center in LA, right?
Yes, sir.
So last minute, were you feeling in shape for this one? Or did you have to jump into camp quick?
Well, I think something that I like to do, or something that may differentiate me from a lot of fighters, is I don't really change my routine when I'm in camp or when I'm out of camp. I train 2 times a day minimum, every single day apart from Sunday. And I've been doing that for a couple of years now. So it was never really an issue of my training or whether I was in good cardio shape or something like that. It was more about the weight, because I was preparing for my next fight to be with UNF as a professional in March. So as a professional, you walk around a little heavier just because you do that weigh-in the day before as opposed to the same day, which is what we're going to do Saturday. So I just had to make some minor diet adjustments so that I could make this weight on Saturday. But I'm in shape to fight. I'm always in shape to fight. In my mind, a lot of people, when they get their UFC debut, it's on short notice. That's a lot of the ways that people end up in the big leagues. So in my mind, this is just practice for something like that. I'm always prepared to take a late notice fight. And so when Ryan reached out to me, I was really, really excited because I'm prepared for it. So they say that when preparation meets opportunity, that's what you call luck. So I'm feeling pretty lucky.
Yeah, when we had spoken last, you had told me that your goal for 2024 was to get Rising Stars gold around your waist this year. And yeah, God willing, it's going to happen this Saturday, faster than you thought, I guess. And then move on. Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to be in the cards, actually, interestingly enough, because I had this fight booked in March. I had my teammate fighting for the belt on this day that I'm going to end up fighting for the belt. And then he got injured. And then even then, I didn't think that they were going to ask me to fill in. But it just kind of seemed like, serendipity, if that's the right word. And I really had no choice but to accept it. It's kind of like this is happening for me. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, what adjustments did you do for your diet?
Largely, it has to do with how much water weight. So I definitely went into a bit of a calorie deficit to lose a little bit of tissue, but it was just to kind of pull the carbs out, lower the sodium, and just make sure that I'm not going to have to do a crazy water cut, because since we do only have, thankfully I'm the main event, so you have a little bit more time, but you only have 12 hours to rehydrate. So just through trial and error, there's an amount of weight that is a little too much to rehydrate in the same day. So I just wanted to make sure I could get down to that weight pre-water cut that made sense, and we're all good to go. I actually last Saturday was after like a little practice water cut, nothing too major. I was pretty much on weight already 2 days ago. So
you're not cranky at the gym.
What's that?
You're not cranky at the gym then. You're good with the weight. No, I'm saying because of experience. Sometimes when I'm training at the gym with the fighters and they're losing weight, it's like, all right, I have to take like 6 feet away. Like make sure I step lightly, yeah, because
I've definitely, yeah. Over the last week, I have been probably a bit of a pill to be around, because I'm kind of a fat kid at heart, and I like to eat my sweets and stuff like that. So I've definitely been a little bit of a crybaby. But one thing I keep reminding myself is if I want to quit, I can quit. If I want to call Ryan and say, I don't want to do this. If I want to quit fighting, I could do that. That's totally under my control. So I'm not going to whine about it, because it's not like this is being forced upon me or anything like that. And even if it was, whining about it's not the right way to handle it. So I try to always remind myself not to be a little weenie about it.
Yeah, it's good mindset. And like you said earlier too, this was sort of a serendipitous thing. They offered you the fight and you decided to act on it. And I've heard you say this before when we've talked, and I watched your recent podcast, and you were saying something to the effect of, this has all been written for you already. You're a big believer in destiny and almost like predetermined destiny. And it's just a matter for you to act upon the opportunities that are put in front of you. Could you expand on that philosophy a little bit more?
Well, I believe in an omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent God. And I believe that, everything is within God's scope and within God's understanding. So there's nothing that I could do that God hasn't already planned for. And also just through my experiences in life, thinking that I want things, or thinking that there's a certain path that I want to take to get to a certain destination, and then realizing that things weren't going to happen that way. And then things sort of play out the way they do. And then you look back and you go, wow, the way that they played out was actually so much better, so much fuller, so much richer than the way that I had planned. And it's so much more amazing. And I learned and grew so much more through the way that it actually unfolded. I've, through that happening over and over again in my life, I've realized that God's plan really is the best plan, and it's the plan that I want. And it just makes things so much easier, because that no matter what happens, from very trivial things to even very serious things in my own mortality, God has my best interest in mind. And that may not look like success or happiness or pleasure in this world, but this life is deeper than that. And I've learned to accept what's been written for me, and what God's plan is for me. So there's just a level of comfort and certainty that comes with that. And I think a power, when you don't fear the unknown, you actually welcome it and are excited for it. So yeah, it's a philosophy that I think has given me a lot of power, and has given a lot of people a lot of power. So going into something like this, it doesn't, not only does it not make me nervous, and it feels like just what's right. And I'm ready for it. And whatever the outcome, I know that I'm on the best possible path that I could be on.
How did you get into this? Were you always like this? Was it your parents that kind of guided you in this religion, kind of God, or was it something that you found later on in life?
It was really something actually that I've developed through doing a lot of reading and a lot of listening to different philosophers and thinkers and stuff like that. Because like anybody, I've had my own hardships in life and my own struggles and things that I need to get through. And just seeking answers. And I think, a genetic component or something I got from my parents is neither of my parents are quitters. And they raised me to hold myself in a high enough esteem and a high enough standard to not give up, but to always seek solutions and take responsibility. And through that journey, you come upon, successful people and the way that they think, and then the people that they look back on, whether it's in like Greek philosophy or even earlier or even later. And some of these mindsets are just so empowering, and you realize that, really when it comes down to, like, the big thing is the line between what you can control and what you can't control in this life. And you expending energy on something you can't control is a complete waste of energy. So just through focusing on the things that I can control and giving the rest to God, it allows me to allocate my power and my energy correctly. Because, if you allocate your energy on something you can't control, that's a misallocation of energy. It's a misallocation of resources. So it allows you to become the most potent that you can, because all your power and energy is going towards things that you actually can affect and that you actually can control. So I'd say just through my hardships and through the journey of life, you stumble upon things, and then I guess stumble upon isn't really the right way to put it. It's really God put those things in my life. So, you know, just through trial and error, and I'm sure that I'll learn a lot more as time goes on and I continue to experience life.
Who are some of these philosophical or spiritual guides that you've come across that really resonated with you?
So I think that Stoic philosophy is something that I've really gotten into over the past couple of years. So there's like Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, sort of like the Mount Rushmore of Stoicism. You say Seneca, or if that's the way that you pronounce it. But I've read Meditations. There's discourses by Epictetus, and then Seneca. I forgot what the name of his is too, like the main text by him. But I've read those as well. And then there's all the modern guys who are kind of cliche, but they kind of take all these philosophies too. There's like David Goggins, Jocko Willink, these guys who are pretty much just like modern day Stoics. And I find that the most successful people in the world are all employing these ideas. So, not trying to reinvent the wheel here. I don't believe that there's anything new under the sun. That's a Bible quote, actually. There's nothing new under the sun.
My dad always said the same thing growing up. It's like there's nothing new under the sun. He would say it in Spanish, of course, but yeah, I was like, all right, makes sense.
Yeah, and it helps you. It helps you realize that we're not lost. The answers are in the past. The answers are in the future. They're all the same answers, all the same themes. And man keeps trying to reinvent the wheel because the real answer is hard. But it's simple, and we already know what the answers are. So just following the path of, they say, was it Einstein? He said he's standing on the shoulders of giants.
I was gonna say exactly the same thing, because one of the things that I repeat myself, because ego comes, ego goes, and sometimes you think yourself higher than what you are. But one thing I'd like to repeat myself whenever I'm in that mode is like, I'm standing in the shoulder of the giants. The only reason why I am where I am in any situation is because I am standing in the shoulder of greater men that have come before me.
Right. And we're all, I believe that all of us of ourselves are going to fail if it's just us by ourselves. I really believe that we need to rely on God and a higher power. So, God has a way of, every time that you start to count on yourself too much, show you that, you are just a human being who can make mistakes. So it's important, I think, to always turn over your success and your way of thinking to other people, because it's not like it came out of thin air. We're all just this is ancient knowledge. So yeah, it's not me. It's just I'm just listening to somebody, you know.
But it goes the other way too. In the one sense, you know, there's the surrender to the higher power and destiny that unfolds before you. But there's that expression, the strength of the wolf is the pack, and the strength of the pack is the wolf. And my martial arts teacher always had this metaphor for us, you know, consider a chain. Every link on that chain needs to be strong. Every one of his black belts had to be at a certain level. And if one link over the generations is weak, the entire chain falls, you know? So that's, you know, that kind of leads into that next question. Yeah, you know, you've talked a lot about that mindset of, you know, letting things unfold for you and trying to take those opportunities and understand there's perhaps divine force guiding it. But then you have to take the responsibility to get your ass in the gym twice a day, to actually make that walk into the cage, you know, to carry yourself this way. So, yeah, I guess, you know, my question then would be, how much are you actually then putting on yourself? And how much are you giving up to God?
So what I'm putting on myself is what God gave me the power to put on myself. So I'm in control of my actions. I have will. I do have free will. So you know, being as authentic as possible when it comes down to, like, I'm not dumb, so I know what needs to happen in order for me to be actually genuinely trying my best. Like, I have my own like, I know within my heart, did I give my best today or didn't I give my best today? And that is within my control, whether I gave my best today or whether I didn't give my best today. And that's, God gave that to me to work out. But what he didn't give to me is, am I going to get a flat tire? Am I going to, you know, is there going to be traffic on the freeway so I'm late? Am I going to, you know, maybe get sick or something like that? These are things that may not entirely be within my control. So all of those things, I'm not going to stress out about. I'm not going to waste even a drop of thought or energy over. And I'm going to put it all into the things that I can control. So I do kind of sound like a broken record with the word control. But the line that divides what I put on myself and what I give up to God is that same stoic line of what is within my control and what is not within my control. So I try my best every damn day. You know, I work super hard. I don't miss practice. I go to practice multiple times a day. I'm tuned in. I'm giving my best effort to try to learn and become the best martial artist possible. But there's so many other elements that I just cannot influence and I cannot control. So all of those I give up to God, but you better believe that all the ones that he did give me autonomy over, I'm attacking every single day with full force.
Beautiful.
That was, well put, man. Yeah. It's about being efficient with your energy and so being a broken record, don't worry about that. That makes sense.
Keep going. And it's not you, because the thing about allocating your time is, like, yes, you hear mystics talking about it. You know, you hear talk about, it's written in the Bible. And if you read any business or financial like guru, they say the same thing.
Delegate
everything you can. Focus on the one thing that you can do. It's like every time you're coming back to the same conclusions.
Mm-hmm.
It's simple principles. Yeah.
What else can you do?
There's nothing new under the sun.
By the way, I like the wolf quote. I wrote it down.
You like that one?
Yeah. I'm gonna keep it.
We'll make a little thing for the bathroom.
Everything. Yeah. No, just post it back there. Yeah.
By your eat, pray, love, live, laugh, love, son.
I'm sure you can find somebody on Etsy that'll paint that on some, like, distressed wood or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. A little craft for us.
So now let's get to the gritty. How did you get into MMA? What sparked you that fight in you, the dog in you?
I think the dog. I've always kind of had the dog, whether it meant you know, in karate when I was a kid, or tackle football or lacrosse or baseball or whatever I was playing, I always was kind of like the dog on the team, in the sense that I like in a lot of I spent a lot of times in my lacrosse games in the penalty box, because like sometimes I would lose interest in the play and I would just be like, who's not paying attention right now? Let me go lay them out when the when the ref isn't looking. I spent a lot of time in the penalty box. I always was like very physical, very aggressive. And I think just one thing led to the next. So got into jiu-jitsu as a teenager, with my professor Rodrigo Carvalho. Went from white to black belt with him, and got into jiu-jitsu competition. And then it was always just what's next, what's the next thing, what's the higher stakes thing, what's the next thing that's going to drive my growth as a person and build my confidence and my esteem. So you kind of just put one foot in front of the other until you end up fighting MMA. If you get into martial arts, I'm never satisfied, so one foot in front of the other, small baby steps. When I got into jiu-jitsu, I never would have thought that I would be fighting MMA. But you take a bunch of small baby steps over years, and then you look back and you're like, damn, I can't even see where I started. So that's kind of how it happened. And yeah, I think I always had the predisposition for something like this. I remember being a kid and watching like an MMA documentary with my mom, and me telling her like, man, I want to do that. And I remember the look on her face when I said that.
Yeah, mothers don't want to hear that. Yeah, my baby.
It's still the same look on her face now. Don't get it twisted. She's still like, I can't believe that you're doing this. But just being a competitive person who wants to better himself, and I like intensity and raising the stakes, one foot in front of the other, and here we are.
So you're a black belt under Rodrigo Carvalho.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing jiu-jitsu?
First black belt from white to black belt.
Oh, his first student the whole way.
I was his first student to get a black belt that started with him as a white belt. He has a couple of black belts who started with him as a color belt already.
And you have a knee down now, right?
What's that?
You have a second degree now?
No, so I'm first. So the first 2 degrees are 3 years each. So I got my black belt in December of 2019. Got my first degree December 2022. And then I'll get my second degree December 2025. So I still have, pretty much a full 2 years until I get my second degree.
All right. So when did you start Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
I started when I was a late teenager. I don't know the exact date, but I got into it just to, honestly, like just to be able to walk around with more confidence. And I remember distinctly thinking, like, I want to be able to say what's on my mind without being afraid of somebody wanting to, like, threatening me with physical violence.
I thought you were going to use it in the lacrosse field, but okay, no.
No, I didn't actually. It would have come in handy in lacrosse and football, like if I maybe had.
I wish I knew judo,
that.
and then played football.
Yeah, tackle everyone.
Man, would that help? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Ray Lewis was a wrestler.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of these guys have backgrounds, and yeah.
Yeah, so Ray Lewis was like a really good wrestler, and then he became a middle linebacker in football. And you see, like he blast doubles these fools. It really does. So it would definitely have helped, but unfortunately, that's just not the order that I did things. But I just wanted to not get beat up if I wanted to say something that was important to me. That's really what it was.
No, it's interesting you saying that, because it's like the aspect of being able to speak your mind, being able to say what you mean and mean what you say, is tied into, like, are you a person that is strong and capable of defending yourself? Like, it's very linked together. It's like very few people who don't have those two
Yeah.
are able to speak what they want to say.
And we live in internet culture now, and you know, it's not samurai times where everyone's carrying a katana, and if you mouth off to me, I have every right to cut you down right then and there. You know, people get away with things online. Like Mike Tyson has that famous quote of something like, you know, people of this generation, they don't know that there's consequences in the real world for running your mouth. So yeah, did you have some controversial opinions that you felt you would, you know, get some flack for?
No, I think that, I mean, I wouldn't call them controversial. Maybe they would be controversial like just in the last like 5 years or something like that. But no, I wouldn't. I would call them honestly common sense. I think that you know, I can see where everyone's coming from. Some people have so much compassion and so much love for others that you know, they don't want to draw any boundaries for anybody because boundaries can be hurtful for people if they want to be on the other side of the boundary. But I know that you know, it's just like from parenting, like boundaries are good for kids. Boundaries are good for people. Um, I believe in objective right and wrong, and I believe in objective truth. So there have to be boundaries, and I just still have boundaries. That's it. You know, some people have no boundaries because they don't want to like step on anyone's toes and they're walking on eggshells. But I just believe in firm boundaries. I wouldn't say that I have any like super controversial opinions, though.
Yeah, common sense. I get it. I know what you mean. It's just where we live. Yeah, so certain things that might seem common sense might be taken as controversial. So,
Right.
but you know, besides all your grappling skills, I watched a few of your kickboxing matches too. You're a very good striker, and I think recently too. Like some of the more recent fights I've seen, it looks like there's been a level up.
Yeah.
Is this from what you're getting at pugilist mainly? I'm sorry. Say that again.
I just started striking 1 year ago. So like it was like my 1 year anniversary of starting striking. I think like last week. So I think learning one martial art, and not that I've mastered jujitsu at all. It's like such like a taboo thing to say in the community. I haven't mastered it, but getting pretty decent. You learn how to learn. So I think that's expedited my striking journey a little bit just because I know kind of what the learning process is like. But yeah, I appreciate it, man. Definitely the last couple of fights, I've felt a lot more comfortable on the feet, and that just makes your grappling more dangerous.
I could see it. It showed, you know. And then in your fight with John Brumley, right? It stayed on the feet for a little bit. I mean, yeah, you got him down quick, but you seem real confident and you know, capable as a striker. And John's a great striker too. So
Yeah, I know that John is a good striker, so kind of my also since then I just want to say John and I have become like super good friends on Instagram, and we're planning to get together, and like I want to help him prepare for, he's got a fight I think on March 9th.
I gotta say, my favorite interview of all time is both of you guys after your fight, and we'll have to pop that in this interview. So it's like a minute where you're sharing a beer afterwards, and like you've just been through a war. I mean, honestly, that was just really touched my heart, man. I've gotten a few messages about that interview too, that you guys just like had the spirit correctly. You don't have to. You said you don't have to hate each other to do this.
I said, here's like another element from Stoic philosophy. People can, in your life, they can be your allies, so they can like obviously help you. And then they can be someone who you could view as being someone that you don't like or is not helpful. But that's just a tool for you to exercise dealing with something that's outside of your control, which is a person that, you know, is attacking you or is doing something that's maybe counterproductive to what you're trying to do. So in John's case, of course, he became a good friend, and he's a clear ally. But some opponent, if I've ever fought anybody who wasn't an ally, that's just an opportunity for me to exercise my will and where I shift my focus. So you really shouldn't be hating anyone. They say that like hatred and grudges are like poisoning yourself, trying to hurt somebody else. So it doesn't make.
It's like, what is it? The Buddha has a quote, it's like holding a hot coal and you're trying to give it to someone else, you're going to get burned,
Yeah.
But so you command a lot of respect, I think, with your opponents because of your demeanor. Have you had an experience in MMA or kickboxing or in your grappling matches where someone was talking trash and real disrespectful that you had to face?
Not particularly. All my opponents have been honestly pretty respectful. If anything, I've been kind of the one to kind of play into it, not out of disrespect, but just because it's kind of the game that we play and just kind of talk a little bit. I've had maybe one opponent like try to intimidate me before the fight, just like with his like stomping around and like sort of mean mugging me and stuff like that. But that only lasted for a minute, because when I was unfazed by that, the longer you try to affect someone and they remain unaffected, that's actually self-defeating. So it was pretty quick that they realized like, all right, this is actually lowering my confidence that I'm trying to like scare this person and they don't care. So no, I haven't really had that experience yet, but I'm sure that I will one day, and I'm more than equipped to handle it. I have a little bit of a smart mouth, so if someone wants to get into it and all fun and games, you're gonna lose. So it is what it is.
I would kind of like to see that one day.
Yeah. Bring it on. Come on. I mean, part of the show is the entertainment value of it.
For sure,
right?
for sure.
Not only the violence, but there's another aspect of it, which is like, putting ass in seats. So
Right.
I mean, kudos to guys like Muhammad Ali and they're later on Conor McGregor. They were able to create a spectacle and put butts in seats.
Yeah.
He did it his way. I think it's incumbent, especially on professional fighters, to find their way to do it as well.
There's nothing more inspiring when they can also throw down too.
Yeah.
If they win and they also have the mouth, I mean, people love it.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of realizing that it's just as much as part of your career as training. Like it really is, the way that you market yourself and build your following. And that's something that I've been working on like in the last maybe month or so, taking my social media a little more seriously. And yeah, I'm more than prepared to talk shit.
Well, we do have your opponent coming up.
Yeah.
You're over there to take his belt. What's going on?
The belt is vacant right now.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, let's talk about Majali Gay, right? He's coming out, I think it's 10th Planet Riverside, right? So Isaac Enriquez is his opponent. He's got, I think that school right now has 2 of the UNF belts. And this now a third one is on the line. Those guys are tearing through opponents. What do you know about him?
The biggest compliment I can give him is that he's been fighting a lot. And that means a lot, like people can say whatever they want, but if you're willing to get in there once a month, twice a month, which is honestly, that's what I've been doing as well. That commands respect. And that means like he's actually putting his money where his mouth is and putting the rubber to the road and actually, getting fights, which is very respectable. As far as jiu-jitsu goes, I know that he goes to a very popular jiu-jitsu school. And, popularity at a jiu-jitsu school usually has to do with like, they have maybe a few good, like a few personalities or really successful competitors that train there. And that's how those schools become popular. But that doesn't mean anything about everybody else. at the end of the day, like, people are the same everywhere. And I fought a 10th Planet Riverside guy 2 fights ago, and I got a first round submission after throwing him with a big judo throw. And yeah, so I don't put too much stock in what school they come from necessarily. I think that anyone can just go to a school and sign up. Doesn't really mean anything. But the fact, I know he's game. He's a hard worker. We actually fought on the same fighters rep kickboxing fight. We were in the same corner actually, like, warming up. And he's an athletic guy. I know he like played a lot of sports. He wrestled and did football and all that stuff. So he's formidable. He's a formidable opponent. I just think that I have a little too much seasoning. This is going to be if you count the kickboxing fight, this is going to be my 9th fight in the last year and a half. And I think I just have a little bit too much. I'm just a little too advanced. I've been a black belt for, I think, probably as long as he's been training. So, I have to give him respect, of course. This is a fight. When someone says they're 100% sure they're going to win a fight, that really means, like, if you're being honest, that's like 75%, because it is a fight. You can always get clipped, and stuff can always happen. But I believe that if I, put one foot in front of the other in there, keep my chin down and my hands up, I'll have maybe 90 opportunities to win, and he'll have maybe 10. So, I'm kind of a nerdy math guy, and that's the way I see it. But whatever the outcome, I'm going to stay on the path. But yeah, I have respect for him. He's definitely going to be a tough opponent.
Without getting into revealing too much, but are you watching his fights? Are you studying him, or are you just doing your own thing and just focusing on what you can improve?
I definitely watch my opponents. I think that it's information that's out there, and I think that if you don't, I think that's kind of silly, whether you're doing it out of fear or like you need to maintain a certain mindset, so you don't watch your opponent. I definitely watch my opponents to see what they're strong at. Perfect example, my friend John, I knew he was very comfortable in his boxing and his striking. So I went out there and made him think that we were going to box and we were going to strike to make it easier for me to take him down. But my opponent this Saturday, I think he's actually a little bit more comfortable as a grappler. So I'm not going to necessarily reveal what my game plan is. But I've definitely been watching what he's good at. And I think that I've formulated a good game plan to exploit his weaknesses.
And do you work that out with your coaches, with everybody? Or is it like a team effort that you guys are working on?
Yeah, so my coaches and I will sort of brainstorm back and forth on what we think, and so we both kind of come to a consensus on what we think is a good game plan. And then I'll go into my sparring, use my sparring as a tool to work that game plan, and then like our specific training and our drilling will all be centered around that game plan. And it's a team effort for sure. But I also really trust in my intuition, my ability to make adjustments on the fly. So whatever puzzle he presents in there, I think I'm going to be able to figure it out pretty quickly.
What's your MMA record?
My MMA record is 4-3. So I went 2-0 with 2 first-round submissions, and then I fought for a state title. And this was before I was just a jiu-jitsu guy at this point. I had 0 striking experience whatsoever. And I fought for a state title, and I was not in the right mindset. I wasn't taking it as seriously as I do now. And I lost. I actually got submitted, but by another really high level jiu-jitsu guy, who I have a lot of respect for. So it's not like he's no slouch in jiu-jitsu at all. He's like an ADCC open competitor, does super well against a lot of really named guys. And then I fought another time. I fought the SoCal Camo State champion. Then I fought the NorCal Camo State champion. And then I went down and I fought Jairi Iman Baker, the 55-pound title. So, you know, there's no excuses. Like the first fight, I had a lot to learn that I lost. The second fight still had a lot to learn. Third fight, a lot to learn. They all deserved those wins. But there are definitely some elements that were within my control that I was able to change. And now if you watch my kickboxing fight, but then also my last two MMA fights, I really didn't make too many errors in there at all, and got first round finishes on both of those MMA fights. So I'm feeling at this point that I've learned from the mistakes that I made, and I'm looking forward to making more mistakes so that I can get even better.
Did that fight with Jairi, did that go the distance? Was that a decision?
No. So the thing with that fight is that was my one and only fight at 155 pounds. So I'm not short, you know. I'm
you're
not
a big welterweight.
I'm not super tall, but I'm not a short guy. You know, I'm 6'1", 6'2" when I'm trying to impress somebody. And I cut down to 55. I mean, it was honestly awful. I was like dry heaving, gagging for like 12 hours before the weigh-ins. Like couldn't even stand up, had people like, sort of carrying me around. I was really, really depleted. And I came out in the first round of that fight, and I had a really good first round. Dominated the first round, almost finished with strikes, almost finished with a choke. And then I came out in the second round, and I was just really feeling the effects of the weight cut. And I don't know how much of it was physical or mental, but I know I was feeling the effects. And I just was so flat in the second round, and he got into a dominant position. And, he landed enough strikes. I was on the bottom grappling. He landed enough strikes in a row, and I was dead enough that I wasn't able to, move, and the ref stopped the fight. So he won by TKO in the second round. And I wasn't particularly beat up. I was just spent. I was gassed. I couldn't move, and no longer intelligently defending myself, as they say. So it was good stoppage. I won't even say it was bad stoppage. I just realized, and that's what amateurs is for. I realized that 55, my frame is just too big for 55. I can't recover. So I'm better off putting on a little bit of size and doing 170 than going down to 55.
Jairi's a beast too. There's, no shame in losing to a guy like that. What a learning experience.
Oh, yeah. Like the dude is super tough, and he has a lot of self-belief, and he was not going to lose that night. I picked him up with a big old suplex. He landed on his face. I took his back. I was hitting him with some really hard shots, put a choke on, squeezed the hell out of it. And he just was so persistent and refused to go out and refused to lose. So I have a lot of respect for him. And I learned a lot about your will and your mental fortitude from him. So I thank him for that. And he's a tough dude.
But it sounds like your wins generally don't go the distance. You're finishing guys. Do you expect to go the distance with Majali?
It's tough to say. I think he's very a very physically impressive opponent. He's in good shape and strong and an athlete. And like finishing someone like that in the first round can be tough because they always have a level of explosiveness that can kind of get them out of tough spots. So I'm not certain. I do know if I lock onto a submission in the first round, it doesn't matter how strong you are. It's gonna be the end of the road. And then also, of course, if you hit someone hard enough on the chin, that's also the end of the road. So fighting is so unpredictable; it's hard to say. But I would think probably it's more likely that he'll be vulnerable to be finished in the second or the third round.
Okay, and it's a 3-round fight for the title, or they give you 4?
Yes.
Okay, got
3
it.
rounds.
Wow. All right. So
you're calling it second, third round.
second,
finish.
third round. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm excited now. Woo!
I do expect to finish, but I think we're gonna have to cook him a little bit. They say Portuguese. They say cook the beans. You have to cook the beans a little bit. They get soft, and then when they get soft, then you can eat.
Well, I got to interview him too at the UNF Media Day a couple weeks ago, and I could tell he is ready. I mean, he's game. He's really amped up. He was already supposed to fight a different opponent who had to pull out. So he's been in for this belt. He knew this was coming. He's got the eyes on the prize. He's definitely going to bring it. It's going to be an awesome fight. And then, God willing, you're going to walk out of there with gold around your waist. And then the next step for you want to go pro again in March. That's definitely in the cards, right?
That's on the books regardless. I believe the card is going to be March 30th. I'm not totally certain which Saturday it's going to be. It might be the 23rd. But yeah, no, that was always in the plans. But then, they say we make plans and God laughs. So that's where I'm at right now. God decided to throw a little extra challenge in there for me, and
he's cooking your beans,
cooking the beans.
I've got all this set up for March or whatever, and then God, hey, that's interesting. Well, let's see how you handle this.
Go get through this animal. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I believe I'm more than capable. I have all the tools. I just need to go execute, and it should be a good night.
We are all looking forward to it, Cameron.
Yeah. So what are you gonna eat after? You said you were a sweet tooth, so what's gonna be the reward?
Man, so I really like donuts. Easily, I could kill.
There you go. Now we know what you're eating. Perfect.
Great way to end the interview. Man, thank you so much. It's always a real honor to talk to you. You got an amazing martial arts spirit, and we're really looking forward to this fight. So it'll be January 27th, UNF15 at the Ukrainian Cultural Center. We're going to see Kameron Fardad square off against Majali Gay for the welterweight Rising Stars belt. It's going to be an epic battle. Thank you, brother.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Cameron.
you.
Yeah, let's go eat donuts.
Let's do it. Man.
I really appreciate the interest and the hard work that you guys are doing, and I plan to keep on keeping on in this game, and I hope that we rise together, that the tide rises, and all of our boats rise together.
Thank you, Cameron. We're going to be following you for a long time. I think we can both tell. So,
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
All right, take care, guys. Thanks again.
Ciao.
Ciao.
All right, hell yeah. It's a very far daddy pose, sitting there with a predatory animal, like leaning back the whole time. Like that's
What's the thing with the cheetah? Why the cheetah?
I like when cats lock onto something. It's like they have lost complete control. It's like their divine programming turns on, and it's like they only see one thing, the rest of the world disappears. So I like to surround myself with things that inspire me, and that's something that inspires me. So I'm working on that too. You know, when you lock onto something, everything else goes away.
Beautiful. All right. Thanks, Cameron, man. Have a great day, man. And we're excited to see you Saturday.
Yep. I'll see you guys on Saturday morning, bright and early.
All right, brother.
Ciao, ciao,
See you
amigo.
later.